Today is about to be amazing again. Have you ever looked at the mirror and said, I don't know this person that I am becoming. However, I am actually confident that I can change? Are you tired of being in situations that you don't desire to be in? However, you know that there's something more. That's why you're tired. How many of you want to know exactly what it is that you can do, what it is that you can actually do today in order to change your whole life based on one thing, your perspective? What if I told you that if you would simply open up your mouth intentionally, you would find the value that you have been looking for? Because there's this thing, it's called a principle. And the thing about principles is no matter who it is that's applying them, they are going to work. Well, what if I told you that the value of the principles you already have access to simply need to be put to use so that you can get what it is that you deserve? As a matter of fact, I would say it is owed to you. However, you need to make up your mind. What if unmuting yourself, meaning opening up your mouth to say what it is that needs to be spoken, is the key to your transformation? What if the change that you are seeking is literally right there in front of you? All you have to do is stop allowing people to rob you of what is owed to you. Listen, family, I got something for you, and it's this. You have everything that you need in order to move forward in intentionality. All you have to do is make up your mind to revisit, review, and remember that you got this. But it's not a matter of simple motivation. When I say you got this, I am trying to tell you that you have exactly what it is. I'm not on some guru stuff trying to tell you if you just do this and you just do that. No, 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 no. I just want to do something for you that other people have done the opposite of, and that is robbed you. See, I want to empower you. So looking at this movie, right? And it's a popular movie. It's not nothing new. It's actually quite old. And there's this scene in the movie. It's called Lion King, by the way, the cartoon version. And in this movie, there's this scene that never ceased to amaze me. It's when Simba has just seen his father in the clouds, and the monkey Rafiki, the baboon, he hit Simba in the head after Simba made this statement. He said, I know what I have to do, but it will require me to return to my past. After saying that, you would think that he would get some type of sympathy, right? No, he gets hit in the head. How many of you have ever came to a realization, but for whatever reason, though you knew what to do, things just didn't work out smoothly? You knew what you needed to do. However, you got stuck because it was difficult. Some of us need to be reminded with a hit upside the head, like I'm thinking Arby's. So when Rafiki hits him in the head, he says, oh, what was that for? He says, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. And it's like, wait a minute. What? You tell me you just hit me and it doesn't matter that I was just assaulted? Yes, this is why. Because he says, yeah, but it still hurts. And Rafiki's response is, yes, the past can hurt. But I see it like this. This is how I see it. You can either run from it or learn from it. And he swings at Simba again, and clearly he learns his lesson. How many of you have not learned your lesson, and that is why you are constantly stressing? You ain't new to the scenario and situation you are in right now. However, because you didn't gain what was owed to you in the past, that is why you are still wrestling with today. I am here to tell you that you have exactly what you need. You simply need to go and redeem it. It's yours. And I'm not speaking from a perspective of somebody that's hitting you with the woo, woo, woo. I'm telling you, that you have exactly what you need and you need to take ownership. You're not poor. See, poor people believe they don't have the power. They believe they don't have the ownership. They believe they don't have the opportunity or the resources to change their situation, to change their life. Well, that's a line of thinking that somebody else taught you. Somebody lied to you, fam. And as a matter of fact, as long as you hold on to that lie, there's this thing I believe, and that is the truth sets you free. Therefore, a lie sets you up. And if you tired of being set up by somebody else's devices, then all you have to do is take ownership. I was reading this book and it's called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. And what he says is what ails us in life is not that we are without what we need as a child. We are unloved. We are too big, too small, too fat, too skinny, too poor, too wealthy, too anything, too dumb, I don't have enough degrees. I don't have enough certifications. My mama didn't teach me this. My dad, none of that stuff. He said, what ails us in life is that we are living as amateurs. Well, I say what ails us in life is that we are living as those who have been muted and we have forgotten that we always have the power to unmute ourselves. If you unmute yourself, you are literally operating in the power that God gave you, and can't nobody take that from you. It's interesting. There's a proverb that is a gift to a son from a mother, but the man that received it is a king. His name is King Lemuel. And it's in the 31st proverb where his mother tells him to unmute yourself. What she says is to open up your mouth for those who are needy and destitute, in short. How many people need to hear what you have to offer based off of what you've already outlasted, overcome? You've been through things in life and people have made light of it, and they have literally tried to mute you. See, you're not an amateur. You don't have to operate as an amateur because amateurs take what they have and complain that they have it. See, you can be a pro. You can be unmuted. You can be the person that opens up your mouth and gives life and breathes life to people. You are the unmuter. You are the person that once you open up your mouth, you provide and produce hope for those who thought there was none. You are the person that has an experience that nobody wants to hear about, so you think and believe. But remember when I told you the truth sets you free, but a lie sets you up? What if you speaking your truth was the actual key that will actually provide freedom for somebody else? Would you unmute yourself then? Or would you continue to operate as the person who was an amateur? You know, those people who want to complain about the situation they're in, but they have everything they need to change it. They just won't change their mind. You don't have to be an amateur. You could be a pro. What do pros do? See, pros don't believe that they don't have the power, opportunity, and ownership or resources. Pros know that they have what they need. See, pros have a perspective. They have relationships and they take ownership. They don't put it off on anybody else. They open up their mouths and they speak to those who have the relationships. They speak to those who have the perspectives. They vibe with people who intentionally, though. Your vibe is your values, intentions, beliefs, and expectations. If we can't vibe together, we can't thrive together. Or I'm here to tell you that there are some people who are stuck and they are muted because they are operating outside of their natural God-given vibe. See, if you open up your mouth, you don't function on the frequency of those who are at a lower level. You elevate to those who are of a higher level, but you sacrifice that as what that thing that you don't need to be holding on to, you let it go. You're not holding on to that. Why? Because that belief ain't serving you no more. See, if you out of alignment with your vibe, that means some of your values don't make sense. Intentions don't make sense. Beliefs don't make sense. Expectations don't make sense to what? Who you actually are and who it is you've had the privilege of becoming. See, there's this process called be, do, have that we've all heard, possibly from Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, or even Tony Robbins or Myron Golden. Well, they say be, do, have. Well, my stance is this: it's be, do, have, give, receive. So you got to be the person that actually does the thing. You got to believe that you can. You got to change and question your beliefs, fam. Just because your mama told you or your granny told you, your uncle or somebody told you, those people they had your best interest in mind, but that doesn't mean they were right. How many of you have ever learned something that you found out? Oh my goodness, I wish I'd have learned this before my 30s. Why did nobody tell me? Well, they didn't know. And there's a problem with that because they didn't know and you don't know, but you just found out. Now you are the person who gets to unmute yourself and go tell them, oh, but they won't listen to me. Why are you believing lies? Who told you that? Who told you that you didn't have value attached to what you have to offer? Who told you that you hadn't already become the person that could actually do the thing? Who told you that? You got to change and question your beliefs so that you can stop telling yourself the lies that somebody else already told you. Reminds me of this movie called The Giver. See, in The Giver, it was all black and white and they could not see in color at all. Crazy. But in this society, they kept taking these daily inoculations. Well, the individual by the name of Noah decided, I'm not going to do it anymore after he was given some instructions by the giver. And the giver gave him perspective. What if I told you that your perspective could shift if you would simply stop taking your inoculations? If you would stop giving yourself the same lies that somebody spoon fed you and now you sitting there eating it up every day. Would you believe me? Because if you know I'm telling you something that makes sense, drop a me in the chat. Because here's the thing, y'all. If you don't question your beliefs, then you will never behave outside of your belief system. You can't behave outside of what you believe. You will behave according to how you believe. So it's first be, then it's do. You got to actually do according to who you already are. Be, do, have. Well, after you do something, you'll have the fruit of that person's labor. If you know that all you have to do is do the thing so that you can have what you desire, oh man, this is the hard part. What if you're around a bunch of people who aren't doing anything that is supporting you? What if the reason that you aren't doing what you could be doing at a higher level is because you are operating with people at a lower level? What if you simply need to let go of those people who don't owe you anything and you don't owe them anything? Y'all can literally part ways. And if you part ways, guess what? You are freeing them to be them and they are letting you be you. And I just got a text from my wife. The actual name of the character was not Noah, it was Jonah. I apologize. But here's the thing. Be, do, have. If you want to have what you need to do what it is you're capable of doing at a higher level, then you got to become the giver. But if you keep your mouth shut and you never unmute yourself, you'll never give anything that is worth value and consistency to who you are. Stop downplaying your past, fam. Because once you give it, then you receive in response to what you have given. If you don't like what you're receiving, you got to check what you're giving. And if you don't like what you're giving, then you got to check what you have. And if you don't like what you have, because you can't give outside of what you have, right? Well, then you got to look at what you're doing so that you can stop producing what you have. And if you don't like what you're doing, you got to get in the mirror because the man or woman you have become is responsible for it all. So if you unmute yourself, you might actually drive people away from you that are actually robbing you. And once they realize and recognize that, oh my goodness, he's been woken up, she's been woken up, Rafiki hits you in the head and said, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. Well, once Simba was hit in the head, and he was told it doesn't matter, it's in the past. And he said, yeah, but it still hurts. He said, yes, the past can hurt. But this is how I see it. You can either run from it or learn from it. How many of you are tired of running from your past? How many of you are tired of repeating the same mistake over and over and over again, putting the wrong people in the wrong place in your life? Not physically, but mentally. You're replaying other people's soundtracks in your head that never belonged there to begin with. The lies, the deceptions, the misinformation, the misunderstandings, the assumptions, and all of that stuff. You can let it go today. You don't have to hold on to something that don't belong to you, but you do need to take ownership of what does, and that is your past. See, he got almost hit again, and Simba ducked when Rafiki swung that staff. And then he said, hey, what you doing? He took that staff and he threw it, and then he took off running. And where did he run to? He returned back to his scars. His uncle's name was Scar, but he was going back because he knew where he belonged, because there were those who were waiting for him to unmute himself. See, he had been hiding his voice. He had been hiding his roar. He had been hiding his identity. He had been hiding himself. What if you stopped hiding today and started to unmute yourself every day? What if you decided to speak what needs to be spoken? You don't have to be mean and rude about it. But the thing about it is, you have the authority. Why? Because there are those who are out here speaking who don't have authority, but they're perpetrating as if they do. And you allowing them to do it. You allowing them to get away with it. They just saying stuff and you know they don't know what they're talking about. You're like, oh my goodness, here another guru or another this. Well, fam, you are qualified. You don't have to consider anything outside of the truth. And the truth is what sets you free. Well, you need to speak your truth so that you can free other people because they need you to open up your mouth and function as the king or queen that you are, because you are responsible for the value that you have. Otherwise, somebody's going to try to rob you of it. Why are you hiding? What is it that you're holding back? Why won't you unmute yourself? Or let's say you have unmuted yourself and you kind of just like, I'm going to say it like this. I'm just, ain't nothing safe about that. The problem is when we try to play it safe Ain't nothing safe about you. You are dangerous. Why? Because the moment you speak up and open up, it's going to be people that's going to take off running. And then there are going to be people who want to silence you, but you won't be silenced again. You will never be muted again if you unmute yourself. Why? Because you'll see the butterfly effect. You'll see the ripple effect. You'll see exactly what happens when you unmute you. You don't need anybody else outside of that to do anything for you. As a matter of fact, take my words. I'm unmuting you. I'm giving you permission to open up your mouth and speak what needs to be spoken. And if you believe that you can return to your scars like Simba did so that you can actually show people like, listen, if I show you my scars, that's just evidence and proof that your wounds can be healed. What if you simply need to open up your mouth by unmuting yourself so that somebody else can see that there is hope for the future, hope for today, and value in tomorrow because it was worth living yesterday? Your past is the thing that they need to know about, because if they hear about your past, that will provide them with perspective. That will provide them with everything that they need. Why? Because your perspective is based off of your point of view, based off of where you've already been. And if you know where you have been is in your past, this means this is where you gained your perspective, your ability, your skills, and your time. See, your perspective is the perspective that is actually owed to you. And what does that mean? Why would you go through what you went through not to grow from it? You need that perspective. That's yours. That's why you went through it to begin with. Remember last video when I told you, count it all joy, dear brethren, when going through various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, and allow patience to have its full work. Therefore, you will be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. You need to get everything that is owed to you through out of what you have gone through, so that you can show up to your future on purpose, with value and actual power. Because power is the possession of the qualities to do something or get something done. Well, identity has the same exact identical. The same exact identical. Ability has the same exact identical definition. Possession of the qualities to do something or get something done. So if you have the perspective and you have the ability and you have the skill, that's mastery, because you ain't new to this, you true to this, and you have the time to back it because you ain't somebody who just figured this out. You know it. You just got to unmute yourself. And if you speak about your perspective in context of your past, and you provide people with the understanding of what's available to them based off of the hope that you have inside of you to show to them, you are literally putting light on darkness. And when you take your light and you shine it on their darkness, this allows them to open up their eyes and unmute themselves too, because they feel free finally. But it took you returning to the past so that you can acquire and obtain that which was owed to you, just like Simba did. When he went back, he took his throne that was his and it belonged to him. Well, what belongs to you that you might have been running from, that you might have been playing as an amateur at? You ain't no amateur. You're not poor, fam. All you got to do is recognize you have the power, you have the ownership, you have the opportunity, you have the resources. Matter of fact, adjust your vibe. You got the vibe. You know what you value. You know what your intentions are. You know what your beliefs and expectations are. And those who are around you who are not supporting that need to be either elevated themselves after you unmute yourself and give them permission to be free, or removed. So you can free yourself, they can free themselves, and y'all can move forward intentionally in the life that you have been gifted with. Listen, all I know is this. I have so many people in my life that talk to me about, Jared, you're so outspoken and everything, but what about you? See, the opposite is true. The opposite is you're too quiet and you need to open up your mouth, because I need something from you. I need you to unmute yourself. Why? Because I got kids. And what if the value of what you have to say and offer is going to change their lives? Who might you be holding back as it pertains to legacy, not realizing that it's because you haven't said anything that people feel stuck? They're around you, but they don't know why. It's because God sent them, and that's why they're still there and they can't leave. But you got to open up your mouth. Some people stuck in your life long enough because they figured maybe one day you're going to do what it is they expect you to do, even though they don't know what it is. Well, I'm telling you, they waiting on you to open up your mouth, fam. They're waiting on you to speak. They're waiting on you to elevate. They're waiting on you to elevate them by simply speaking according to who it is that God has given you the privilege of becoming. You are the person that can do it. Just do it. Stop waiting. Stop hiding. Turn pro. And remember, in order to turn pro and not be an amateur, all you have to simply do is unmute yourself. And in doing so, you have no idea how many other people you will be unmuting too. Look, I got something special coming up and I'll announce it tomorrow. But I promise you, if you unmute yourself just like I have unmuted me, or maybe I have unmuted you, I don't know. But I do know this much. What ails us in life is that we are living as amateurs. Therefore, if you are living as an amateur, it means you are living muted. Turn pro today and unmute yourself. Stay focused, fam. Much love.